Welcome to Mic'd Medicated. Welcome, Charlie.
When I walk through the yard to this beautiful studio, I've never seen like dogs and the road clearing towards the pool house, the lights glaring in the studio. This is important. I'm so happy to be here. I feel like I can just be me and vibe with you guys. So thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm really glad you didn't step in any dog shit on the way. Also,
no, I saw some to the left or the right of me, so you cleared the path.
There was actually a large pile, but we're so happy that obviously your name with walk, you know how to walk.
I do.
Walk this
early.
way.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you have a lot of music experience, so we're really sorry.
We won't sing in this episode. We normally sing, but I think that would be offensive.
We can't do that. He's got an ear. He knows. So Charlie Walk is here. He is the guy who says gut versus data. Live in the now. And we are so happy to have you. We want you to tell us a little bit about yourself. But first, I will tell you that you're from Newton, right? Boston.
Yeah, I am.
My husband's from Boston. Do you know what I say is the best part about Boston?
Tell me.
Leaving.
Yeah. That actually plays into my story.
Oh,
tell us.
Oh, because you hated living in Boston?
I just knew I was surrounded by, respectfully, of course, we'll talk about that later, people that never left, people that sort of became lawyers because their fathers were, or they were landscapers because their fathers were, accountants, and sons was always on my head. And sons. So it became what I call this like 5-mile radius of like going to, the local restaurant, the local bar, and watching the 6 o'clock news. Still today, most of my friends that I went to high school with never left. And I knew at a very early age, I needed to get the fuck out of there. And I didn't want to be like them. I wanted to be me and be curious and learn and live. And I'm still, today I just thank God. It's funny you said that about your husband. I had no idea he was from there, nor that he felt the same way that we needed to leave there. Beautiful place. I'm just talking about sort of the lifestyle side.
Yeah, it's provincial and it's just vanilla.
Yeah.
It's like a town. I always say to my husband, you can't get a dog walker. You can't get things delivered. I remember the first time he was trying to convince me at first to move there.
I was about to say,
no fucking way am I living in Boston. I went to the nail place and I was like, mani pedi at the same time, please. They're like, what? Mani pedi same time? No. They were like, what? You want to do it at the same time? Like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here for 4 hours. It was just, they don't know how to.
But I felt that at 8 years old. And so I was a tortured soul from 8 to 18 for 10 years. I remember just being like, I need to get the fuck out of here, because I wanted to be in the entertainment business and I wanted to, be in music and sort of, I had to figure out how to internship and find my path without any parental guidance per se.
Right.
And because that's not what they knew. Wasn't their fault, but I knew how I was born and what my star chip was, what my DNA was saying for me to follow. And that was critical for me. But during that period of I need to get the fuck out of here. And it's not like you can say that to your parents. You don't want to insult them. They made a great life for us, for them, their friends and family. That's all they know.
What did they do? Were they encouraging, or were they hoping you would take a more traditional path?
They did not get in the way. They were amazing, or else I wouldn't be sitting here. They understood that I was absolutely fucked up and needed to get the hell out of Boston. My father was a dentist and developed a practice. And I think other kids may have become dentists and taken over Dr. Edward Walk's practice to be the dentist. My mom was teaching English as a second language and teaching private and to public schools. And, it was amazing for her. But their life was very simple. And by the way, they loved it and they still love their life. I'm not simple.
I can't imagine you being a dentist, because you would be like talking and telling jokes and the person would be like,
Yeah, 100%.
But let me ask you, this whole living within a 5-mile radius, I think that's most people wherever they live. It's hard to kind of push yourself outside your comfort zone day after day after day. So you live in
I lived in Tribeca for 25 years, but guess what? Every day's different. Every night's different. It's New York City. Then you load in your travel and you experience Ibiza this year for the second time. And then you're going to Aspen or you're in Miami. You're kind of like, you're in the mix of what's happening culturally in a city that moves very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's new. There's next. There's stuff. There's a diverse group of interesting people that challenge you. And I think if you're curious, if you live a life where you don't say you have enough friends and you're good, I say the opposite. Like, I need to meet, like, I'm here. What if we never met?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What if I said I'm good? What if I didn't speak to your brother at the gym? What if I had an attitude? What if I said I'm wealthy and I'm good and I'm happy with where I'm at? So the uncomfortable part of like my soul makes me want to be meeting and connecting with people so I can, it's not even like be forever young, but just be educated and be curious. And then that trickles down to my children and people around me. So we all help each other, right?
Yeah, you're taking the energy from youth and from fabulous people. And I agree, it's inspiring. I'd rather have less friends, but have more interesting people and have a revolving door of people who in that moment where meet me where I am and inspire me to take the next step.
Well, I'll tell you, last night I was at an event for a friend's birthday and I saw some faces from the past that I hadn't heard from in years. And it triggered me. And
Triggered you how?
Just like I just didn't like that they hadn't been in touch with me. Number one, because I had helped them, and number two, I'm in this room and the conversation is like, so what have you been up to? And I just sort of honestly left. I felt uncomfortable because I don't feel like giving me to people that are either full of shit or don't really care or haven't been in touch with me. That makes sense. So I have like
sense? Are you kidding?
I have this thing called the 15-second rule.
People.
I swear to you, and I'm really good at it because when I signed artists or broke artists, I had that same, it's the same feel. I call it cultural A&R, even when you're meeting an artist or people. If I walk down the Wall of Fame through this courtyard, through the pool, to this pool house, and I just met you for the first time and I didn't feel your energy, I swear to you, I would not be on this podcast.
Would you just walk away?
Can't do it. I would say I don't feel good.
Really?
I'm either all in or if I don't feel it, I can't do it. I used to suck it in. I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I don't apologize for it.
I don't either.
I also think, like Caroline taught me this, but when you're open, you can find and receive like the universe, like the gifts the universe is giving you. So like if you sit at home and you're not out there and you're not curious and you're not meeting people, you won't like cross paths with what you need to like figure out how to like stay on your path and achieve what you need to achieve. So Caroline and I, since we started this, like everything is falling into place in this very strange, magical way where like meeting you, like we feel like that's validation. We're on a path that is right for us. The fact that Phil said you have to meet Charlie Walk and now you're here with us and like everything feels like it's happening the right way.
You also, I feel like when you send something, you don't let it fucking go. You literally said, I said, I'm not sure if Eva's going to be here. You're like, let's fucking go. Chopper her in. Here's the jitney, the cost, the train.
And I did it.
And she did it.
I knew that we needed to do this.
We weren't going to say no to Charlie Walk.
Well, there's a window, right, of like momentum. And then you lose that momentum. That never happens. So I believe in momentum. And I try to give that to my kids too. Like, keep it going, make a decision. I always say, make a decision. You want me on your podcast? Chopper in. Let's go. Here's the date. I'll figure out how to get here on a Thursday versus a Friday. And then we create amazing content that fulfills our brains and helps others, right? What's the best of this time together where we can take the 30 seconds that matter and give it to somebody and it goes viral? That's really interesting to me. That's hot. Like that's really exciting for me.
You know, I did have something that was actually pretty hot. I did a video of my husband walking in front of me at the airport, which I think for a Jewish woman is normal. I don't know if you walk ahead of your wife.
When I was on a TV show, I was walking at Sony Culver Studios on a show called The Four with me, Meghan Trainor, DJ Khaled, Fergie, and Diddy.
I've never heard of those people.
I was all made up, the makeup, the whole show, dressed in Saint Laurent. And my family came to visit me and I was walking 20 feet in front of them. And I still get killed for it.
Well, that's like, you didn't mean to. It doesn't mean you're a narcissist.
I didn't mean to, but why did I?
I don't know. So is my husband a narcissist? He was just looking for the gate.
Talk to my wife.
I want to ask about your wife. Your wife's name is Lauren.
Yeah, we've been together we just had our 27th wedding anniversary.
Oh my God.
Congratulations.
That's hard.
Amazing.
They call her Saint Lauren, actually.
I was going to say,
I wear Saint Laurent and they call her Saint Lauren.
Well,
She's a saint.
Right. Because
100%.
I was going to say, like, doing what you're doing and talking about being out there, like, how did you do that while you were raising, like, not one, not two, not three, 4 children? Because I think about, like, how the process of raising kids slows some people down and they feel sort of bogged down during that dense parenting
That's
phase.
why his wife is Saint Lauren.
Exactly. That's what I want to know.
I seriously didn't. I just kept doing what I needed to do. And as long as I could provide, I know that she would be, keeping the house together. And my job was to provide and grow. And listen, whatever I did career-wise affected her and the kids. So I had to go out and do what I do. So we balanced it, though. I don't think I missed much. And I think she really raised 4 amazing entrepreneurial kids that love each other, that call each other siblings, that have their own chat group, that, That was what we instilled. And I was traveling for 25 years. I was never home. But when I flew home, I made sure they were included. And sometimes I was able to fly them out to LA for event. You know, we
Made it work.
we did the best we can. And I think I learned a lot from her. She definitely learned a lot from me. Recently, we've been doing stuff with some brand investments, and she turned me on to the coconut cult, which this is this really amazing probiotic, non-dairy protein situation that's becoming massive. And she turned it on to me, and that turned into like a much bigger situation of, you know, investing and being around that thing. And that was from me listening to her. So it used to be everyone listening to me, and now I'm really like, what did you say? You told me to go to Whole Foods and buy that. I never heard of it before. Then you do your research, and wait a minute, this is a thing. Oh, she's finding it before somebody else, before it became famous, before it could fill a stadium. It's like playing the club right now, right? The product is a hit for a small audience, but you see the vision that it'll play for millions of people, like an artist. But you listen, you listen to people, and then if someone's telling you something, listen. There's a reason.
I agree. I've always told Eva, who went to Harvard Business School, Dartmouth, she's super in her head.
You are an Ivy queen.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Cornell, but that's the same.
But I've always been in my head,
genius.
so I'm learning to be in my gut and to trust my gut. And so we love when you say gut over data, or
no, yeah, gut
Is
over
that how you
data.
say it?
Yeah.
Gut before data, and then, you know, the data verifies your gut. But you can't like sign an artist after the data is done, because everyone sees the same data. So then you overpay. The same way if you make an investment in like Poppy Soda, which I did, or the Coconut Cult, which I just did, you can't get a good valuation and expect a huge return unless you're in it when the data is not necessarily there, or it's at a point where you can get in at a good price. It's the same thing with artists, right?
Yep.
You're going to sign. I remember we signed, you know, Post Malone and The Weeknd. Like they hadn't broken, or Ariana, they weren't broken as music artists. So the deal was better for us to get involved, and the return was much higher when they did.
Right.
So that's what I mean by gut before data. Doesn't mean there's no data. There's usually some revenue, and there's some sort of indication that people like it, and then we dogpile it and figure out how to help. How do you be the artist behind the artist? And I also say that for brands. How do you get quietly behind a brand to help them maybe cut the line a little bit and have their journey happen a little bit faster?
So now that, you know, you're naming a few names that I think a lot of us know, Ariana, Post Malone. So you're on the couch with us. Do we have that? Do we have a superpower? What is it? Do you feel it?
I think you guys can represent millions of women worldwide. Your biggest challenge now is, how do you get this platform out there to the masses? And how do you think about like the best of the best of the best, the parts that you know that you shot that matter? You got to almost like make a movie trailer of it and push it out. Even if you spend it on advertising, whether it's TikTok or Reels, and have something within the algorithm catch. And then this becomes critical for the masses. That makes sense?
Yeah.
You don't have a product problem. It's just, you know, people have to see it. People have to hear it. People have to be able to understand that like this can help them live a better life or think differently. The influence of what you guys have is critical for, I think, and when I say women, you're two powerful women, so why not inspire other powerful women? And that's why I'm on it. Like, I love inspiring women. I've hired more women than men in my entire career, more comfortable with them. Sometimes I think they're a lot smarter. And so that's the beauty of, I wanted to come in this, like, let's get some great stuff together that you can push out. And then this becomes more important than some of the other, you know, B-level stuff that happens to be popular, because there's not a lot of the competition that allows this conversation to happen.
Right. I think people are afraid to be real and raw, especially I think in the world, the microcosm we grew up in, or I grew up in Manhattan and Upper East Side, and people are very afraid of pissing off somebody. They want to be on the board of the school. They want to do this. Like, I don't give a fuck. So I think there's something valuable there. And I think Eva's also not afraid to push boundaries. And we know that there's other people that are feeling this way, whether they're talking about what meds they're on, or, you know, our most popular episode was Sometimes We Hate Our Husbands.
And I would say, like, it's been very gratifying because we're getting feedback. So to your point, like, I put it out there and I start to see, are people interested? Are they responding? Are they engaging? And we will do an episode and then get a lot of women reaching out to us saying, God, my husband does that, or God, I feel that way, or I have a brother I want to get sober. And people are laughing with us. They're relating. They're asking questions. They want to hear more. So I worked in marketing for 30 years, and we always said, like, the internet is the world's largest focus group. So I love what you're saying. And we have been told by my son, who's a teenager, that our videos suck.
Yeah.
He continues to say
I
that.
got to tell you, once you get the content right, it's about who the fuck is editing your shit and making
It's
packaging.
fucking me right now. It's not good.
But you should, respectfully, of course, find someone, and I can actually help you. I have someone that does this for a living. It's $100 a video, whatever, but it packages the best of the best. And as you're time stamping in your brain, out of all the stuff you do, what's the best of each episode? And you push it out. Watch what happens.
Have you seen our movie trailer that we made?
Of course.
Oh,
yes.
What'd you think of that?
I liked it a lot.
Oh, good, because we did hire somebody to do that.
Yeah, but you got it. Everything's a movie. This is a movie we're shooting today, and what's the trailer that comes from it?
Right. Well, we have to get to see what the heart of it is.
Yes, exactly. But for every episode that you do. But I'm really happy that you guys are doing this.
Thank you. We're so happy you're here.
You know, when I came here, guys, one more thing. So I said to the ladies, respectfully, of course. I always say respectfully, of course, because you never know who you're going to offend. So respectfully, of course, I said, you guys have great skin.
Thank you.
I want to understand how in your 40s you guys have such great skin.
First of all, I am 37 and a half, so I'm not 40.
Oh, shit.
So I don't know if now you think my skin is good because you thought I was good as a 40-year-old.
You guys have great skin. What's the secret?
One, I always stay out of the sun. I wear sunblock 365 days a year.
Number one.
That's the most important.
Yeah.
I use Strivectin. We had the opportunity to work with the founders on their marketing campaign. And
as Eva herself.
And Strivectin was initially designed by two cancer scientists, and it was for stretch marks. I don't know if you remember, they had a marketing problem. They were
How come you've never shared this cream with me?
Is this over the counter?
Well, now you can get it in Marshall's. You can get it in Dwayne
Have
Reed.
you been to a Marshall's?
I have. We have one in Tribeca on Barclay Street. But I have a question. So that is a moisturizer?
Yeah. So it was bought by a private equity firm. They came and engaged us to position it.
Same formula?
Same formula. And now it's more expensive, smaller, packet. You get fewer ounces for more money. But it's got a real moisture to it. It makes your skin feel really
This could be the next
elastic.
coconut cult.
Yeah, you should check this out.
I see the nodes in your brain
know what?
are like
and
exploding.
This is something that should be up on the screen right now, because then the founder should be on here talking about how, as part of longevity and saving your skin, combined with the right daily, facial washing, whatever else, that I had no idea, and I'm like into this.
Yeah, you have great skin too. What do you do? Because my husband I feel like for men it's harder. Like,
I don't
what's
lie
your
in the
regimen?
sun. I wash my face twice a day, and I use a very light moisturizer. I think it's by Welda. Is that a brand?
Yeah, that is a
Okay,
brand.
so I use their. I think I bought it at CVS. It's in a green package. It's all natural, and I just use that here and here in the forehead, and I drink a lot of water, and I really choose not to lie in the sun.
I drink a lot of water, and I think
That's
tequila is a huge help of my skin.
100%. We're going to talk about tequila in a second, but I want to say one more thing about the sun. Do you know what is also critical that you did not mention about as far as looks and sun? Your hands. Do you know what makes you look old if your skin's good? Your hands. Why do people not put sunblock on their hands? I'll show you a great face with no work done, and I'll show you hands that are shrivelly because they never put sunblock on their hands.
I actually put it on my hands.
I try to put it on my hands.
By the
too.
way,
Gorgeous.
not trying to be me too, but your chest is also important.
Yes,
A woman with a wrinkly chest.
Yeah,
You won't be me too because that was a marketing brand created by an agency in DC that was funneling money, and they shut that down.
Well, that shit was
That
bullshit.
doesn't exist anymore.
were they funded by the
Me
New
Too
York
movement,
Times?
We have a whole flywheel. I have a whole flywheel of all the connectivity of each person, the money funnel. As you know, Time's Up was shut down. Everyone had to leave. And the Me Too movement, that brand is no longer in
By
existence.
the way, I'm sorry. If you're like a hot woman who's smart, use your fucking hotness. Like, what is the big deal?
First of all,
And-
yes,
right?
but also if you're a hot, smart woman and you're working with somebody and he says, come to my hotel room at 8 p.m. to discuss the contract. You choose to go knowing what you're signing up for, or you say, no, thank you. I'll meet you at 8 a.m. for breakfast in the lobby.
I think in life you make a decision on whether you're going to go up and sit with crazy bad dude Harvey or not. I think also what's happened, unfortunately, I hired mostly women in my career, and they're still thriving, and I speak to so many of them. But I talk to a lot of guys, and the water cooler talk is they don't want to have drinks with women. They do not.
Why would they want to have drinks with a woman?
No one's going to talk about this, but they don't want to even hire because they don't want to deal with it. So the Me Too movement, in my opinion, crushed the hiring of women. And it's a shame. It actually backfired in my opinion.
A friend of mine who ran a fund said, I don't invest in anyone I don't break bread with, and I can't and won't go out with women now. So
because men are terrified. What if you have a drink and by accident you're like, oh, you look great, you look pretty, and the woman is just like a fucking weirdo, and she's like, oh my God, you've sexually abused me. That could happen.
I just got honored by an incredible group of ladies that have a foundation, and it represents Tanzania. And the women of Tanzania, there's no bathrooms in the schools. Can you imagine? So the whole thing is if you have a period, you lose 2 weeks of school. So we raised a shit ton of money to put bathrooms in the schools of Tanzania.
It's amazing.
And at that event it was some of the most beautiful women in the world, a lot of models, whatever else. And I remember being there and I'm on all the pictures and I'm like, can I say something? My wife was there, my 2 daughters, can I say someone's beautiful? So then I made up in my head, the only thing you can say, because you want to let someone know, wow, you're beautiful, I love your outfit. And with the whole Me Too shit in my brain, always I was
respectfully.
That's what I was just thinking.
I came up with the term respectfully, of course. Love that. I would look at you and say, you look great, Eve. That beautiful shirt, and you're just a really pretty woman. Then I pause, respectfully, of course, and every time it's like, everyone's like, I feel better now that I actually use respectfully, of course. It's so fucked up that I even have to think that way. Forget me. Imagine just everyone as it relates to hiring and whatever else. So I wish there was a way for that to change. And I don't know. Would you
tell an ugly woman that they're beautiful to make them feel good, or no?
Just depends upon the vibe of it. Like if someone has a beautiful soul, we'll say it. I'm a very emotional person, so I like to say you're brilliant, you're smart, you're beautiful. I love fashion, so I happen to, whether it's a guy or a girl.
Yeah,
you look gorgeous. I mean, great. And why can I say that?
No, as long as you're not.
By the way, if I look good, why wouldn't you say, hey, Troy, look, you're in your 50s, you look great. Thank you. I really like your top. Great. People like compliments.
People love compliments. I mean, that feeds me. Like if you said I looked gorgeous, I'd be like, oh my God, Jeremy, do you know we had a podcast with Charlie Walk. Jeremy's my husband, and he told me I was gorgeous. Like, why don't you say that enough?
Listen, I said to my wife, went to Ibiza a few weeks ago, and I'm like, God, you're really beautiful. I could tell that she appreciated it. Whether it's your wife,
you don't even have to say respectfully.
Whether it's your husbands or girlfriends or boyfriends or kids, people like to feel good about themselves.
Yes.
So I think that whole movement over that, was it 2 or 3 year period of money funneling and press manipulation and trying to take out men, and I was one they tried to take out, was
we're
just
glad
horrible, just media. Most of it was just media.
I went to college with somebody, a great guy, and he was accused of date rape, and literally it ruined his last years of college. No girl would date him, and it ended up that he was innocent.
But by the way, so that was a legal case, correct? And I'll give you an example. I'm going to represent all the guys out there. There was never anything legal with me. It was media driven, media hit driven. And I remember someone said, he looked at you with his eyes. He looked at you and looked up and down with you, his eyes. That was they wrote, the actual person in the quote in the media was, he looked at you with his eyes. He looked up and down. That was his thing. By the way, I am guilty. I am looking up and down with you right now with my eyes.
Honestly,
it's actually laughable.
This reminds me of all the microaggressions.
And that person I promoted who didn't deserve to be promoted because I felt bad, and she failed.
Because she sucked.
This was at a major label. Yeah, it was horrible. But because she was my assistant and was aggressive, I wanted to give someone a shot. Instead, I was mean to her, apparently, and I looked her up and down my eyes. This is just media stuff, not legal, nothing of mine was legal.
You had to get shit done.
But I'm just saying that is, so I'll represent any guy that went through that shit. Like, no. And by the way, last time I checked, I'm married with 4 kids, and I've been married for 27 years, and you ain't got nothing. So maybe you should check yourself. Go see your shrink.
But I think people are a little too full of themselves.
Right. And I also think we've talked a lot about nobody can have fun anymore. Nobody can be playful. We can't be comedy is dead in the schools. Our kids walk around on eggshells. I have 2, boys. And I feel sad that we have to tell them, like, you need consent. Like, you don't want to ever put yourself in a position. And so there's no kind of spontaneous romance anymore. And now I'm not saying that bad things don't happen on all sides, but I think we had reached a point where, like, a woman could make a claim and ruin someone's life, regardless of whether there was
Maybe
any
she was just a
follow-up
dumb drunk whore.
investigation.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but like, let's be real.
I remember I had also I let someone
Sorry.
go in 2004, and then like 2018, this person launched on her new business website for life coaching an open letter about me from 2004.
Fuck her.
Okay,
She's using you.
hold on, and then used the press and the thing, and just basically said like I made her uncomfortable. So now ask me what happened to her website. Gone. Was the open letters all disappeared because they know I'll fucking sue you. And I didn't do it at the time because I'm not spending money on someone that has no money, and I wanted to move on. When I look back, I probably should have, but those were great examples of, can you imagine starting a new business and then putting your open letter on there, knowing you had a famous music guy, and then launching it, and then everyone had to read it through your new business website.
But do
Like,
you?
you
And
just-
then hold on. Then I go to the media, and I've got 2 more stories for you. Then I go to the media, and they go, well, no, she still said you did it. I'm like, oh my God, are you crazy? And then fast forward a couple of years later, there was an amazing reporter, probably the most powerful investigative reporter in Hollywood, named Tatiana Siegel. She's currently at Variety, and before that, she was at the Hollywood Reporter. She calls me up. This is, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. Hey, Charlie, I kind of like read all the stuff, and you kind of got taken out by men. Like, it's all bullshit. Like, I did my research. I want to write the story on what really happened. I'm like, great. She goes, could you get me 5 women on the record to talk on your behalf? So I got her 25 women, every last assistant over the last 20 years,
Right.
people that work for me on the record, some that were still at my last label, Universal Music Group. The night before she calls me in tears, her editor-in-chief, who was woke, read the article and said, I just spoke to someone. This was when Time's Up was ending. I can't let you put the women in the article would hurt the movement. Story was killed. Let me say it again.
Up.
The 25 women that she had on the record, she couldn't put the story out because her editor said no, it would hurt the movement and show the other side. Okay, so if you really want to talk about, I'll talk about. Well, let's talk about it because I forgetting just me, forgetting anyone. Now your friend had a court situation. I'm talking about the guys that didn't have any court. I'm talking about media hit jobs.
Yeah.
And usually, want to hear the truth? It's men taking out men.
Brilliant.
In my case, I became bigger than my bosses that took me out. I have proof of it. I have everything. What am I going to do? It's very hard to spend your whole. You got to move on.
Yes.
My mentor, Jimmy Iovine, who created Beats by Dre, an amazing man, just said, don't look in the rearview mirror. You'll hurt your neck. And so I just try to, like, as much as like I can get triggered because I'm a man.
You're
just
human.
try to move forward and just be around people that have your back and people you can help and live a better life until look. Life is short, right? You just saw Ozzy Osbourne. A lot of people, passed away in their early 70s, 69.
Yeah.
In my 50s, like, so what does that mean? Like, you got to stay healthy. You got to, like, you just brought up tequila. I don't have a problem drinking, but I like Lalo tequila because it's all natural and there's no additives in it. And I'll mix it with soda and mellowed orange. And you know what? I'm social. I'll have a drink. I'm not scared to have a drink. No matter what they're saying about alcohol. That's an intelligent decision I made, right? There's no chemicals in it. I want to feel
Also,
good
if you're feeling good and happy, then that's
Right.
great. That's going to keep you living.
I have to say, I brought Caroline Lalo because for all those reasons, and we didn't really. I don't know, something about the taste.
It could have been my ice cubes, but I like Casa Azul.
What it didn't taste like tequila. Here's why you like Casa Azul.
Blanco.
Here's why you like it.
Okay, is it the
It's
bell on the top?
There's sweetener in it. So
Yeah.
sweet. The reason why you like 1942 or
I don't
Casa
like
Azul,
1942.
even Amigos.
I hate Casamigos.
There's something that they're doing that they don't have to reveal, and there's lawsuits now going on about this. By the way, if you don't believe me,
First of all,
Google it.
Casamigos is disgusting.
By the way,
There's something
we have
they're
Lalo
putting in
here.
it that
we
makes you
try it
sweet.
We should
again.
have some
The
again today.
Lalo situation, I'm telling you, like, I'm
All right,
crazy
I
on
have a
this.
bottle here.
I
It's
feel
very-
vindicated.
It's there's no additive, so it's clean. And see how you feel after 2 drinks the next day. You don't feel it.
Yeah.
Go to the gym if you're going to drink, right? So this whole conversation blends into how do you live a better life, if you're, you know, in your 30s, if you're in your 40s, if you're in your 50s, don't you want to look good and feel good and have a better chance to be a grandparent, take care of your family, and
Yes.
be older but be active? I don't know.
Yeah, but I also believe in, you know, Woody Allen has an amazing quote. In order to live to 100, I have to give up everything that makes me want to. And I think we're fooling ourselves to say that we have full control over, you know, our life and our lifespan, because there are plenty of healthy people who do everything right and you drop dead. So it's like a combination of, you know, you want to, I think, you know, it's like genetics are the gun, and, you know, or, and if you load it or whatever, I'm kind of butchering it, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
You have a certain genetic system, and you can, if you're smoking and having McDonald's and, you know, 500 pounds, you don't have a great chance of seeing it out. But if you're having some tequila and your beauty sandwich oil on your face and you're working out and you're also, if you're doing good work.
Well, watch this. Everyone has to analyze their genes and then make a decision. So my genes, I have a lot of plaque in my main artery, not because of my lifestyle. It's just hereditary.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So
We're Ashkenazi Jews. We're all inbred.
So guess what? I have to watch that. And I do have to work out and make sure I'm not eating like shit and all the things that you do for so I have heart disease. Now you wouldn't look at me and know that, but you've read people like myself, my age, may look good and they drop dead in the treadmill because a piece of plaque broke off, right? And clogged the artery and they're done. I'm very, very cognizant of it. As long as you know the rules of your game.
100%.
And give it your best shot. So if you have cancer around your breast cancer ran in your family, then you should be getting checked every 6 months or whatever the rules of that game are. Right. So I just think you have to be in charge of the rules of your game, the genes that you were given, and understand it. And if you do, you know, then it's on you. And then obviously shit happens, right? This shit just happens.
Yeah, but I agree with you.
I had thyroid cancer.
Me too.
Didn't run in my family.
Wait,
papillary?
Yes, I had it removed.
That's me.
Are you?
Wow.
You know what? This is the communication chakra.
You're right.
I was young. Were you young when you had it?
No, I had it because of 9/11. They had us come back too early.
Really?
I'm a victim of the city.
Wow.
I am on that
I wonder
list.
if that could have happened. Like I was in New York City in that time, but
Interesting.
I don't know.
I was 3 blocks from 9/11. So I'm 11 years clear, but I get checked every 6 months by my amazing endocrinologist, Dr. Elise Brett.
I go to Dr. Caroline Messer.
Oh, wait,
who's awesome.
I went to Elise Brett because I have thyroid failure.
Yes.
And I take Synthroid every day. But
do
Elise
too.
Brett was my
But I do think there
endocrinologist.
is I believe it. First of all, it is also genetic, or it could have been from a 9/11 or from.
Oh, they said it was 9/11 for sure.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm on that list of like
Jesus.
cancer 9/11. So again, that was also a wake up call. Do you know what it's like when you have cancer? Not fun.
Me too. I had it removed. Did you have to do the chemical
The whole
iodine?
thing.
Were
In
you
that
like
room,
radioactive?
and then they're in the suits, and you're away from your
Yeah.
family for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're
I
getting
was
salt.
22, so I was alone.
Yeah.
But just
so was I.
pushing on this, I think
I was 40 something and alone.
but just
Right.
pushing on this health thing, I think stress is one of like the major factors in life. And you seem really calm, and you've been through some like serious kind of hiccups in life, like when you resigned and what you're talking about now. Like, I'd love to hear what your kind of wisdom is around how to like roll with it and how to be kind of more emotional and calm and accepting.
It takes years. I was depressed for 2 to 3 years. I was no fun to be around. I was so sad. It didn't have a voice. And I think time does heal wounds. I think for me, it took me a lot longer than most people around me would have liked it to take. And now, like, I have no fear in me, and you can't stop me. And I will knock you out if I have to knock you out. Like, you can't play or perform the way I do. And so I'm just very crystal clear on how I feel and then how I act and how I react, if that makes sense. But it took me, and I don't care about therapists. Everyone, I end up manipulating the therapist. Like, I'm in the room, I'm like, how they,
Yeah.
like, I'm not.
You're like, you look gorgeous today. Can I get out of here?
Oh,
now?
no, it's worse. Why she's asking the question or why he's asking the question. Then I'm like thinking about how to manipulate him back and twist him. Like, it's almost like a game. So I have to I self-medicate myself. I self-manage over the years on how to the whole gut before data thing applies to my lifestyle. Right, just going with how I feel. Again, meeting your incredible real estate brother in the gym, telling me about you. I did not know about you. I did not know about you, but I knew.
Thank you, Phil.
I was going to be in the podcast, right? So,
is it because Phil wouldn't shut up unless you did it, or is it because you felt it?
well, Phil never shuts up.
I know.
But my line to him is, you can always tone somebody down. You can't tone somebody up. So you can't be mad at someone. All you can say to someone that's super aggressive is just chill, as opposed to someone that doesn't speak and sits there in the corner.
No, he's
what
not
would you
vanilla.
rather have? I'd rather have someone that you could say, Phil, just shut the fuck up for a second. Let me finish this conversation. You know what? He did. He gets it. But that's okay. I think though, he brought you up once, and obviously I like your family pedigree. You're smart people. And I knew to do it without
Thank
even
you.
listening.
Amazing.
Have you listened now?
Nope. Now I will after this episode. Yeah.
Amazing.
I didn't want to like prepare.
Yeah.
Because then
you can't even prepare for us anyway.
But you don't get the real me, I think, if I'm going in and thinking, if I have a preconceived notion of what it's going to be. I did a quick call with you guys just to hear voices, then I'm done.
But you know what you said that I think is so important is you said you're not afraid anymore. And I do think like raising kids the way we are in New York City, I worry a lot. Like when you have something to lose, you play it safe. And when you have nothing to lose, then you're more willing to take risks and to go for it. And it sounds like your kind of professional journey was you have a take no prisoner mentality now. And I think that's sort of where we are now, where we were like, or maybe you and I came from different places, but I came from a place of like thinking everybody else had it all figured out and then realizing, wait, like nobody has it figured out.
Our first
nobody
rodeo.
else has my life. Like you said, nobody else is playing our game.
I also will say, as an employee, you have to decide if someone's actually an employee or an entrepreneur. I was like an entrepreneur. And I learned over time, I just didn't like people telling me what to do or how.
Yep.
I'm sitting there like, I want to do what I want to do. I've learned that later in life. I probably wasn't the best employee over the years just because I was edgy.
Yep.
And I also, my wild sort of thoughts and decision-making process probably made a lot of people hundreds of millions of dollars because I was the lonely boy in the room all the time. A lot of the stuff that I did in music, like I was the lonely guy seeing the vision and like fighting internally for marketing dollars or just the green light to do stuff. And I look back and I'm like, I probably held me back too. Probably me staying at these corporations too long. It bubbled to the point where I got shot and probably should have.
You know, when you said that, and I've listened to your podcast, I thought you got shot.
Oh, you mean physically?
Literally. And I'm a smart person. I was like, wow, he really bounced back from that.
I have a bullet wound right here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. When I say got shot, it's a street term for like someone taking you out.
You know,
clearly,
I'm not street.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be in the street anymore.
No, so I really was like, shit, he got shot. Wow. And he's like talking about it like it's not a big deal.
It's funny you said that because I look at it as like street lingo. Like, yeah, I got shot.
But you have people listening who are not street, so you got to clarify that.
Thank you for that. Now I'm not gonna say that again. I got shot by my boss, which means he pulled out a gun and shot me. Especially after what happened last week in New York, it's probably not good to say he got shot. I think it's taken out metaphorically in the media is a better way.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
yeah, that's true. You got to also look back. Why did it happen to you? And I look back and saying, well, I probably ego still a part of things, and then wanting to do it your way, not listening to others. And there's things that add up to why things happen. You can't fully say it was another thing. You have to take a little bit of responsibility, and I do. I talk about that. Like ego is the number one killer in the music business, I always would say. So I definitely had.
But you also don't strike me as somebody who, like, having worked in corporate America for 30 years, like being politically expedient is like, that's a skill that's required versus just being talented.
Right. And I think I was talent and having to like sometimes a lot of the stuff that I would do, we always talk about making Shakira Hips Don't Lie. It didn't exist. You had to make your own luck. So my whole mindset was if there wasn't a new release to make our numbers for Q4, then make your own luck and make something up or figure it out, or just like look at something that is a diamond in the rough that you have to polish off or whatever it is so you can make your bonus and move your market share. I was always that guy. Like, how do we?
But I feel like you also have like this inexplicable feeling about something where if you're working for a corporation, that's bullshit to them. If you can't explain it, you're like, I'm telling you, this is going to be a hit. You just know it. You feel it you feel it in your fingers.
It's true.
You can't. No one is going to be like, I'm going to give you the money for that.
I remember sitting with John Mayer when he was like 20, and he was signed. I didn't sign him, but I was in charge of like taking him on the road and turning him on to people. And I knew I was sitting with the biggest star in the world when no one knew he was. Yes, he was selling his EP. He was cool. He was like, growing in the clubs. But I knew I was sitting with like Eric Clapton and steroids. Like, I'm sitting there with this kid, and you know he's getting ready to explode and show the world he's the best guitar player, and he held it back. And you're sitting with someone at 20 years old, knowing you're in the presence of greatness, right? And then you go on for like 3 to 5 years explaining it to people. You go out and explain it to people, and like even like the corporation, until the numbers come in, they don't know what you're talking about. But I knew. And so, like, how do you bundle that all up and figure out how do you bottle it up into your own brain, and then like figure out how to execute your own vision, right? And manage that. And that's just you. Like, you're having a meeting with yourself. I always say, I'm going to go have a meeting with myself right now.
That's what I'm going to say when I go to Tracy Anderson. I'm going to have a meeting with myself.
But by the way, like, my experience over my career has been people like you are the people who make shit happen, because you have to believe in yourself for others to believe in you. And so many people sit around and they're trying to find like the common denominator, or how to like compromise and get to a place everyone's happy. And it's always the people who will put their neck on the line and say, this is right, this is what we have to do. And then you need to be able to convince others. If you can't convince others, like you said, you're not going to get everybody to come along. But those are the like rare people who actually move the needle forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always been my hard thing in life, is I feel like I'm a feeler, and I'm, especially in New York, you're around everybody. My husband, everyone's in their head. So when you just explain, like, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm worried about New York. I'm feeling like we might need a change. My husband's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, our daughter's starting kindergarten, her son's in 3rd grade. What do you mean we're going to move to Miami? I was like, I don't know. Maybe we have to. Can't explain it. I'm just feeling it.
But it's a really good thought to explore and think about lifestyle wise, and why you want to do that. And New York is a very unstable place right now, and it doesn't mean you can't come back. But maybe you spend more time there. Maybe your kids are young enough. These are real conversations to have. I think it's okay to have the conversation. I think it's great to talk about everything and make decisions. I think career stuff. I always say this. I believe that most people don't pull out their DNA, their greatness, and then activate it. And so I believe in my podcast, I've called it Starship,
Superpower,
whatever you want to call it. I believe everyone has one. I also believe most people don't ever activate it because they get stuck in that, like, they get stuck by someone telling them, forcing them to do something that they may not want to do, but it's easier. It's an easier path to go make money. And so
it's also scary to step out of a comfort zone.
But
you're stepping into what you're really great at. And if you identify that early, you'll make the money because you're doing what you love. If you're born a coder and you end up doing that, well, guess what? If you're a really good coder, you're probably going to create an AI company. I'm making this up. You understand?
That's not going to be me.
No, but it's whatever you're great. It's whatever you're great at.
I mean,
and so if you do what you're great at,
how do you tap into that? Like, how do you find that if you're not friends with you who can see it in somebody else?
Like, part of like what I do privately, just when I meet people, I can pull out of them. I ask them the questions, and it does start off with like, what do you love? What are you feeling? Or what makes you happy? It really does start off with happiness. And what do you want to get up every day and do aside working out? And then once you do that, you can go deeper into that person and give them the gift. Actually identify the gift that was God given within, and then they can go do it. I did it because I found my musical. I could hear hit records at like 8 years old, and I just knew I was the artist behind the artist at 8, 9, 10. I had a transistor radio listening to new song. Like, it was just weird, but I knew.
Yeah. And
then I acted on it. Internships at big record companies and radio stations, and then I was breaking New Kids on the Block at like 19 years old. Because I knew, like, in my opinion, the Beatles were a boy band. There hadn't been an American boy band. Well, now there's one called New Kids on the Block. And if you think about marketing and such, to mothers and daughters at cool clubs, and you just, whatever the fuck was in my brain, I was right. And so everyone has something. There's not one person that's born that doesn't have something special.
Yeah, some people are a little boring, a little vanilla. There's got to be a few.
What does that mean? They could be that person could be a great housekeeper that has a housekeeping business.
True.
Like, by the way, don't make fun of housekeeping or landscapers or plumbers or electricians. I'm telling you, you can have all the fucking AI in the world. I want to own, and private equity is actually getting smart. They're gobbling up and putting together plumbing companies. So I can't
fucking change a light bulb, Charlie. So I have appreciation for electricians.
By the way, the one thing everyone's saying how robots are, guess what? Electricians, plumbers, landscapers, home run. And if you're good at that and you have a little bit of a business mind, you can make millions of dollars. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter.
No, I
You
agree.
can be vanilla. I'm not talking about sex.
Not
I'm talking
everybody
about
has to have a
what
spark.
you have
Yes.
inside you to be the best at it.
And all 4 of your kids, you said, are entrepreneurs. Do they all listen to you when you tell them what their superpower is? Or like, what do you tell them to do? Because I have a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old, and like the world is unstable right now. And it's probably going to be very different in terms of the job opportunities and the path for them. So what do you say to your kids?
I just applied what I was feeling at 8 years old. So I was saying it a lot younger to them. I was saying it to them at earlier ages than most parents would. So when I look today, I see one in the music business that got very involved, working for Wasserman, a huge agency. I see one that has his own fashion brand. It started very early. I had a 13-year-old that's now 18 that started a skincare line at 13. Now she has her own fashion brand at 18. And my other daughter is, interning at Diane von Furstenberg, and Danielle Guzio is the hottest young designer in the game. And so, her journey is going to be to have her own fashion brand by studying, doing the internships I did. So
Right.
all of these kids did different internships that pulled out what they wanted to do. So the internships are focused around what they loved. I'm talking about like 15, 16, 17 years old, each kid. So I set them up to be thinking that way. And maybe I opened a few doors. They absolutely closed them, and then they don't need me to do much now. If that makes sense.
I feel like I do that with my kids. They're younger, but my son loves music. He loves the piano, and he'll hear a song and he'll remember, he'll know who sings it. And I'm like, all right, maybe it'll be the next Charlie Walker, the next David Foster. My husband's like, well, how do you know that? I was like, I just do. I can feel it. I see it. My daughter loves to build and create. And I'm like, don't worry, maybe she'll do real estate with you.
Right.
But like, you just feel it.
You can get a sense at a very early age. I used to say this, I spoke to all the mothers of the biggest stars, and they said their kids were different at 3 or 4 years old. They were stars. Your stars are born. I was talking about like Justin Timberlake's mother, Beyonce's mom, Tina, Ariana Grande's mother, Joan. If you ask all the mothers, all these stars were born that way. They did not suddenly turn 16 and 17 and become massive. And all the parents weren't in the music business or in the TV and film business. They were just mothers.
Who knew?
They were mothers that had to deal with these children that were different. Think about that. Every time, same conversation. So I scream and say stars are born, not made. So to your point, to anyone that's young kids, like, get into it. Like, what are they doing? What are you seeing that's different? Like, you can't force them to be something. The ones that force them to be something they're not are the ones that end up working in that 5 mile radius and never leaving, because that was the path that you, both parents, you didn't allow them to, you didn't lean into what they were telling you.
Yeah.
The signs and signals.
My son's like, I don't like sports. I like golf, but I'd rather play piano 3 times a week. I'm like, great, you're playing piano 3 times a week.
You have to listen to that and then see where that journey takes him. And the more you listen now, the happier he'll be and the more successful he'll be.
Yeah, 100%.
So when I say stars are born, I mean, I believe everyone's a star in some capacity of what they're going to be doing if they can identify it early and then lean in. That's a parent's job, to identify and listen to their children.
They're like plants. You've got to nurture
Their
them.
brains aren't changing. They're just evolving. So they're born with a certain DNA that needs to be exemplified at some point, and the parents need to guide on that. But that's just my opinion.
No.
If you want a better shot at your children living a happier, more successful life, then lean in and identify and help them carry that out versus fight it.
I love that.
I agree. I mean, the way I always say it is like, you need someone to really see you. And if your parents don't see you, who will? So like, admittedly, I was an anxious wreck working all the time. So with my first, I was not as present and really paying attention. And I feel like I have worked very hard to become more present. And I think I really get my son now. I get my middle son, but with my daughter in particular, like, I feel like she can be misunderstood and I see her, and I feel like that's the job of a parent. And then what you're saying, which I love and I'm trying to do now, is then to lean into that and to do more of what they love. Like I'm hoping to do this summer. So
right.
Everyone has to be thinking about just the journey and how can you help their path without getting, sort of in their way or manipulating it. The other thing is, like, I have a lot of friends that had horrible upbringings.
Right.
So how many people do you guys know where I know most people have had horrible upbringings. Just, it's not like when I'm talking about, like, my kids have, two parents together 27 years. That is not normal.
Yep.
My wife's parents weren't horrible divorce. Most people I know horrible divorce. Just whether, and then some drugs, alcohol. Like, it's more often that than. So then you got to think about, well, how do those kids not grow up with anger or still have some self guidance to break that curse and sort of.
You have to be really spectacular to break a cycle.
Pull out your greatness, or I always say, have a meeting with yourself. I'm not joking when I say that. Like, have a meeting with yourself and, like, really lean into what makes you happy, what makes you want to, what gets you excited.
Yes.
I get a thrill of taking something that no one believes in and then having it get into an arena or stadium, whether it's a product, a thing, a brand, or a human. That I like celebrating, like, millions of people cheering for something or transacting in something. Yeah. I get off on that. That's my drug. And I've never had a drug problem. I don't smoke weed. I don't really do drugs.
I've never smoked weed either.
A lot of my friends love drugs, and some of my friends are alcoholics, and all cool. I'm lucky by being in the music business, full of, pimps, thieves, criminals, drug dealers. So there's no barrier to entry in the music business. It's not like go to Harvard into Dartmouth or Dartmouth into Harvard. That business is just full of, crazy town. Get lucky. And I was like one of the few real educated people in it. And I think I'm still alive and made it through there because I didn't, I was always very aware of my surroundings.
Me too.
I could pretend drunk really well.
Also, yeah, I'm fun.
I can conform to, like, the dum-dums.
Me too.
Yo, man, what's up, man? No more weed for me. I'm good.
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm high as a fucking kite, man.
No one's ever going to tell me that they saw me banged out. Like, that's not my shit. Like, I'm up that next day, every day at 6 a.m. regardless. So
same. And I think
what's your morning routine?
I get up. I have my puppy, Peach, who's 5 years old, but I call him a puppy. I get lots of licks and kisses. I take him for a walk for half an hour. And then I go to the gym. I cannot function without the 2 hours in the gym. Oddly enough about the gym, my wife really said, what the fuck goes on for 2 hours in the gym?
Phil, my brother harasses you for an hour.
Ready? Are you ready? I go, okay, come to the gym. I took her to the gym, Equinox. 20 minutes of rowing, 30 minutes of the assault bike. That's 50 minutes. There's that 50 minutes. And now we're going to go on the treadmill for another 30, an 8 incline, and a 3.5 to 4.
Wow.
Walking fast with weights. So now add that up. That's another 30. And then I got to work out. Didn't do the weights. Wow. I didn't do the stomach. And then I got to do a sauna at the end. It could be 3 hours. Think about what I just said to you. If I cut it down, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not hanging.
It doesn't matter if you are. You're at a place where you
50,
can.
I want to do 15 minutes of stomach. By the way, I'm still on the phone and whatever and taking breaks and have a little espresso. But I'm like, I don't believe, I think you have to do cardio. I think you got to get an hour of mixed cardio in with light weights and then into abs and then to crunches. And then you're think about it. It is not an hour. You're cheating yourself. It's 2 hours. And then I want to do the sauna if I can, but I don't want to be the 3 hours. So anyway, it's funny you brought that up because she's like, what are you going to do for 2 hours? Right in the gym. You with the trainer? What's up? So I did have a female trainer that we had to let go.
Okay. I understand that.
It's like you're not having a female trainer.
I wouldn't let my husband have a female trainer.
She killed it. The whole family killed it.
Yeah.
What happened was the trainer posted me with my biceps and there was a family meeting.
I don't blame them.
So whatever.
Respectfully.
Respectfully, of course. They go, you get a male trainer. I'm like, okay, no problem.
What do you think are the keys to raising a close-knit family?
I think you got to give them love and put them into the experiences that you experience at a very early age. I took my kids everywhere. I took them backstage, shows, traveled, and exposed them to the real world early. And don't be so, quote unquote, protective. Obviously protective from, the lessons in life and drugs and bad people and whatever else and all the things that make sense, but expose them to the world and give them love and act like not just their parents. I act like I'm their manager. Ooh. So I'm the manager and they look at me as such. They love me. I'm the father, but I'm the manager.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, what's the role? What's like, how would I be the manager to my kids?
Just keeping it tight, like keeping a schedule. Okay, now it's time to talk about college. Like, how do we lay that out? And what are you thinking? Sort of leading the horse to water. Every kid's different. Every kid went to a different college and a different private school, right? Just because you're wired at a private school because you've had one doesn't mean it's the right school. So it's like analyzing each person's being and then playing into it and managing that independently.
So being thoughtful and planful, which I admit sometimes you're just like letting life happen. But the goal, we talked about this yesterday actually with someone, the goal is really to like not let life happen to you, but to actually be thoughtful and
I say get ahead of it. Get ahead of it. Get ahead of it. And birthdays.
But you also say live in the now. So how do you deal with those?
I think it's a mixture of both. Like if there's something like this wasn't on the schedule 2 weeks ago. So this is living in the now. But also I have a planned schedule of where I'm going to be between now and the end of the year. And in between it's living in the now. Right. So living in the now could mean where I'm going to be somewhere Labor Day weekend for a festival. That's living in the now, but it's also planned. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I mean, that's my life.
So it's living in the now, but it's planned.
I mean, and being flexible that if something comes up.
And then being flexible.
Yeah, which I'm not.
Do you set goals? Like, do you have life and like, do you do life goals in addition to professional goals or is it all one?
I would like to tell your audience that I sit here and set goals. I don't. I just feel. And I go with it. Like I told you, when my wife said coconut cult, I was like, what do you mean by that? And I leaned into it. How do you set a goal around something or things that can actually change your life or move culture? So for me, it's more like just feeling in over time things happen. Like when I said to you, you know, when I left my music company 8 years ago, time heals wounds. Sometimes it's shorter for others and longer for others. For me, it was longer, annoying, but you get through it. And the sun does shine after, you know, a storm. That's a true metaphor that I do live by. I would say that, you know, people say there's like luck attached to all this, but luck is the residue of good decision making.
Ooh, man, you are filled with gems.
We love that.
So you have to like use that, the wording even of that, to lead people to make decisions. And the better the decision, the more the idea that luck turns into, not luck, an actual action that helps someone have success. And people love success. People want to be successful and celebrate, right?
Yeah.
Their success. Oh, I went to college 4.0. I'm sure you were, I know you were 4.0. And so.
Yeah, she's like a total.
Oh my God, incredible. I would just say that, you know, how do you help people have success? By pulling out their internal greatness, by having community and conversation. I'm telling you, this podcast will definitely change someone's life.
Yes.
I don't know how many, but I know it will, because as long as they're like going into their bathroom and looking in the mirror and having like an understanding, like, well, I am really good at X, Y, or Z. I'm really good at something that they haven't sort of fire hosed yet. Well, then we've done good work, right?
I mean, the next plumber could be listening to this.
Guys,
now.
I just paid a landscaping bill, and then we're thinking about redoing some. If I were to do it again, plumber, electrician.
Oh no, we would have such less great one-hit wonders.
Because here's what they do. How much? 1,500. And what do you say to that?
You have no idea. You fucking don't know.
They all know what they all make it up.
Because you don't know what making a pipe costs like.
Okay,
for you, 1,500. It's the best, but that's why private equity's buy. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But my point is, don't make fun of the things that aren't. If someone loves something that's not so sexy, it's sexy to them because they can be successful making money. Sexy to me is everything that someone wants to touch and do.
Success is sexy.
That's actually a T-shirt that you should make as a part of the merch bag that I'm getting today. Maybe the next edition will have that T-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Success is sexy. I love it. This was amazing.
It's true.
Charlie, thank you so much for walking into our lives.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you both very much. This is the most chill I've been in a while. So being on the couch in your private studio pool house, I'm so appreciative.
Oh my God, we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Respectfully, of course.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.